My people will perish due to a lack of knowledge. King James, Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. I think of this whenever I think of black Trump supporters. The question is, are they dumb or stupid? What was it in their mind state to make them believe that they could side with the party that sides with white supremacy?
Like me to condemn.
White supremacists and right-wing
Proud
militia.
Boys, stand back and stand by.
What made it think in their mind that they would be okay siding with a president who showed you early on in his first presidency that he would side with white
what you're calling
supremacy?
the alt-left and white supremacists on the same moral plane.
I'm not putting anybody on a moral plane. What I'm saying is this. You had a group on one side and you had a group on the other, and they came at each other with clubs, and it was vicious, and it was horrible, and it was a horrible thing to watch. But there is another side. There was a group on this side, you can call them the left, or you've just called them the left, that came violently attacking the other group. So you can say what you want, but that's the way it is.
Early in Donald Trump's presidency, Charlottesville shows you that he identified with white supremacists. He's saying the people who stood up in order to keep the monuments dedicated to Confederate generals were good people. Understanding these Confederate generals are traitors to the country and should not be celebrated in a country that they betrayed. In addition, these people fought in order to keep black people in bondage.
This weekend, hundreds of white supremacists gathered in Charlottesville, Virginia, for a rally to protest the removal of Confederate monuments. By the end of the day, a counter-protester and 2 police officers would be dead. It was one of the darkest chapters in recent memory and led to a firestorm of controversy that encompassed the city, the nation, and the presidency. The NewsHour's PJ Tobia reminds us what happened that day.
The weekend began with a Friday night torchlight march on the historic grounds of the University of Virginia's campus.
Trump identifies with the people who wants to celebrate these failed generals who fought to keep you enslaved. On top of that,
Civil War was so fascinating, so horrible. It was so horrible, but so fascinating. It was, I don't know, it was just different. I just find it, I'm so attracted to seeing it. So many mistakes were made. See, there was something I think could have been negotiated, to be honest with you.
a declaration of immediate cause which introduced to justifying the secession of the states of Mississippi from the federal union and the monumental steps which our states has taken of dissolving its connection with the government of which we so long formed a part. It is but just that we should declare the prominent reasons which have introduced our course. Our position is thoroughly identified with the institution of slavery.
But I think it's, Abraham Lincoln. Of course, if you negotiated it, you probably wouldn't even know who Abraham Lincoln was. He would have been president, but he would have been president. He wouldn't have been the Abraham Lincoln. Would have been different, but that would have been okay. It would have been.
Now you have to ask yourself, what would Trump negotiate when it comes to the Civil War? He would have to negotiate keeping you in bondage because, as you see from Mississippi concession letters, and I can also show you from Atlanta, North Carolina, South Carolina, all of these states, the main reason for their concession from the Union was because they feared losing their right to enslave black people. So what would Trump have negotiated? Now ask yourself, what was Abraham Lincoln known for? Abraham Lincoln was known for freeing the slaves. So he's saying that if he had negotiated with the South, he would not have freed you.
Today, our cities are flooded with illegal aliens. Americans are being squeezed out of the labor force and their jobs are taken. By the way, you know who's taking the jobs that are created? 107% of those jobs are taken by illegal aliens. And you know who's being hurt the most by millions of people pouring into our country? The black population.
Before dawn, migrant laborers in the California desert. Despite triple-digit temperatures still to come, they wear long sleeves, scarves, and bandanas to protect themselves from the sun and from dust. Their job today? To pick the purple grapes you'll snack on tomorrow. They're all veterans, and they're all Mexican, except for me, the rookie American, who is joining them for a full day of work, the only person in short sleeve.
I think somebody should have told Donald Trump that black people have no intent in going back to working fields for white people. I think somebody should tell Donald Trump that any growing and picking of food that black people intend to do would be for themselves and not to do it as a job for white people. I think Donald Trump is so far behind, and for black people to have supported Donald Trump at the numbers that we have, which is still small, but still at 20%, it's ridiculous. I have to ask, are black Trump supporters stupid or dumb? Because I'm not going to work in nobody's field. Are black Trump supporters stupid or dumb? Because black people have come a long way from working in fields, and we have no intention in working any fields for anyone other than ourselves.
You make $8 an hour minimum wage and split 30 cents for each big box of grapes you pack between 3 partners. The third is Benjamin's wife, Maria, who is loading up the grapes for the grocery store. She tells me it makes her back hurt and it's hot, but we have to work hard. It puts food on the table. We have to do it.
These are the positions that he feels you should be reduced to in America.
Benjamin's my partner today. If I don't work fast, I cost him money. So there is some pressure. It's not just doing a story.
Maria and Benjamin have 5 children, 2 of them grown. They, like all the other workers here, won't discuss their immigration status. But if you're legal, you would usually seek a less punishing occupation. Either way, taxes are taken out of all the paychecks. They each make a base rate of $64 for the day. After taxes, it's about $45 for the 8 hours. As the hours go by, the workers sing to help make time pass, to take their minds off the heat. They're aware many people believe Mexican immigrants take away American jobs.
So you black Trump supporters have to be stupid or dumb when Trump has already told you that he wants you back in the fields singing Negro spirituals. You have to be stupid or dumb to vote for Trump to empower a person who is backed by white supremacists and says he wants you field niggas back out there singing Negro spirituals, fixing their food, preparing their food for cheap labor. This is what he told you during the campaign, and yet still he's gained black voters because of misogynistic ways and pure ignorance.
And the Hispanic population, because they're taking the jobs from our black population, our Hispanic population.
The great material interest of the world is labor supply, the product which can constitute by far the largest and most important portion of commerce of the earth. These products are peculiar to the climate verging on the tropical region, and by an impetuous law of nature, none but the black race can bear exposure to the tropical sun.
I asked him how many Americans he's seen in his 32 years in the field. He has said 0.
He's a real good worker.
Santos Montemayor is the man who does the hiring in these fields.
So for 15 years, you've been hiring labor crews to do agriculture work.
Right.
How many Americans have you hired over the 15 or 16 years?
None. Not one.
I mean, has one ever expressed interest?
Nope. not to come and work in the fields, no.
Black Trump supporters have to be dumb and stupid. On top of him saying he would negotiated the civil war in order to leave you in slavery, he currently to this day is calling you field niggas to your face when he tell you immigrants, illegal immigrants are taking black jobs. So you really have to ask, are black Trump supporters stupid or dumb to allow this white man to call you a field nigga and still gain 20% of the black male vote? You have to be stupid or dumb to allow him to call you a field nigga and still receive your vote.